Welcome to yet another episode of the Asian Cards podcast and YouTube channel. Today we have none other than Erik Myers. How's it going, Erik?
I was doing great. Thank you for having me.
How's life in Korea so far? For those who don't know, Erik moved to Korea, and he seems like he's been living the life there.
Wait, you moved? I thought you were just visiting.
No,
What the
I've,
heck?
I've lived here for 11 months. I can stay here as long as 5 years total. So I'm basically at year one, and I can stay here minimum
Gotcha.
of 3 years or up to 5 years. So I know I'll do at least three. I'm kind of thinking about the full five. We'll see. We'll see where life has me in 2 years from now. But I love it. To answer your question, man, I love it. I like going into Seoul. It's like New York City, but without so much crime and homelessness and drugs. It's the good parts of New York City without the bad parts of New York City.
It's clean, New York.
Yeah, it's a clean version of New York. There's a lot of different foods. Yesterday I tried, was it BHC or something chicken? It's a franchise fried chicken place
Oh,
in
okay.
Korea. It was amazing. It was absolutely some of the best fried chicken I've had in my life, and I hate saying that from somebody from Texas, but it was really good. Uh, yeah, I like it. I think as I look at all things in life, I enjoy the experience. Right? That's because that's all you get in life
Yeah.
is experiences.
Experience, yeah. I also love Korean fried chicken. They actually double fry it, so it's like crunchier, and they put like sauce on it. It's like
Yeah, the sauce
very
is like
different.
key too. Yeah.
That's what it was
Yeah,
because it's so crunchy, like really crunchy.
yeah. My favorite place is a place in Seoul called After Dark. It's one word. Would definitely recommend checking that out. That is the number one OG.
After dark. I got to write that down.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So Erik,
go ahead.
I guess for those who haven't met you before, haven't heard about you in the hobby, let's start by hearing a little bit about your story.
I got into the hobby 16 years ago. I got out of the military, took a military bonus. Do you want to go my in-depth story or just from when I got into the story, when I got in the hobby?
The hobby's good.
Okay. Yeah. So I got in about 16 years ago, and I just got in, like when I got in the military, I had a military bonus. It was $15,000 after taxes. And I didn't really think it would turn into much other than maybe an extra 100, $200 a month, just a little bit of gas money or, food money or something, or just really to enjoy it. And I started buying and selling older football cards and some, older baseball cards. And I didn't really dabble much into basketball at the time. Fast forward just a couple years, next thing you know, I was doing it every free minute I had that I wouldn't at work. And it just kind of consumed me, which is a good thing. Back then it was harder. We didn't have anything to help us. All you had was maybe VCP to look up sales data and eBay completed sales. Other than that, there was no Instagram, there was no Facebook, there was no Twitter.
No
All
alt or no PWCC, all that stuff, right?
no, nothing. Yeah, not PWCC. Yeah, very few, couple auction houses, and I just started buying and selling things that I loved and enjoyed. And next thing you know, fast forward, and there was so much. I've owned so much. Both Kobe Bryant Black Label Top Scrum Refractors. I've owned 7 Gem Mint Brady Contenders, 6 Gem Mint Curry NT RPAs. I had 2 PSA 10s and 4 BGS 95s. Just a litany of other cards that are just really high value that I've been blessed the opportunity to own.
Oh wow, that's crazy. I actually saw a copy of the Kobe Topps Chrome Refractor at Mint Collective.
Yeah.
It was on display, and it was in Hakkasan. It was like rotating on a little
Yeah,
table.
those are really fancy.
What's the story behind those two? How did you get the two black labels?
I used to own some BGS 10s, and so did one of my friends named Ryan. And I did a lot of GCR, graded card review. So you submit them back to Beckett or PSA or whatever company you choose, and they review it and see if maybe they missed something, maybe it's in a better grade. And those used to be BGS 10s. And the reason they're sequential serial numbered is because they were both BGS 10s. And those 2 cards, along with a bunch of other cards, got submitted in one submission. And they both bumped at the same time, So they were already, it wasn't like they were submitted raw. They were already BGS 10s
That's
in
wild.
whole. And they
Oh,
both bumped at the same time. And my buddy, when he bumped them, he called me when he got the email that showed that, they both bumped. And on the phone, I told him I wanted them. I had to have them. So we worked out a deal.
That's crazy. So you bought both of them, or you bought one of them?
Both.
That's crazy. And that was when was
I
that?
like that.
That was 7 years ago.
Seven
Maybe.
years ago.
Yeah,
Wow,
right.
that's crazy.
Within a week or two after they were graded, they were mine. I guess you look at the pop report and figure out within about a week or two after they got graded, then they became mine for a while, about a year. I owned them for about a year.
That's
insane.
Well, the weird part is we look at them now differently, because of Kobe's passing, right?
Right.
The day before he passed, so when I sold them, they were worth about $50,000 a piece each. The day before he passed, you fast forward 4 years from that moment, they were worth $125,000 a piece, maybe $130,000. So up until the moment of the helicopter crash, they'd only gone up like a little over double to 2.5x, right?
Right.
And now we look at them as $2 million a piece. So, a lot of people ask me, do I regret it? No, of course, no. I mean, was it fun to own them? Absolutely. It's great. Well, I also, at the same time, I had the Pop One Tim Duncan Black Label top from Refractor. So it wasn't like I had just those two. I had the Duncan too.
Oh wow!
But what's the mindset behind that, right? Because like you've been collecting for a while, and there's a lot of people that are trying to get into the hobby, or people that are always trying to strengthen like their thought process of like getting to these higher end cards. It's like it's kind of like the holy grail for us. What's the thought process when you're moving these cards? Because from an outside perspective, like, yeah, you kind of see it from 50 to 125 and then to 2 million, right? At what point, I guess, are you thinking, hey, it's time to move it, or time to trade out of it, trade into something else?
One thing I love about the hobby is it allows me to learn a lot about myself, truly dive within myself inside level, right? It's important. Yeah. And I realized a long time ago that, I'm a collector of memories. Because when the man upstairs pulls my card, right, and says, "Hey, you're done down there," no matter what I own, there's no chance I get to take any of it with me, right? It all stays behind. At the very best, very best, any of us can expect is to take the memories we had. Like that's the most you can take is the memories of experiences that you had online to take over to the next place, wherever the next place may be. So I'm really looking forward to collecting the memories of owning them. And I don't have to own it until my last breath, because that would just, if I had all that money tied up in those items, then I wouldn't have that money to buy more items to collect more memories, right? So I know the money is important, and it's always nice, and
nice.
we all focus on it, right? But really, I'm more attached to the memories of owning something. That's what, I guess that's my drive, is the memories. And if I own it for 3 months or 3 years, it's about the memory and the journey, and the money is just a byproduct. People look, oh, he's made a lot of money. He's owned all these things, but it's all really just a part of me chasing memories,
Very cool.
Yeah. I've never heard of it that way. Just like treating ownership as just kind of a memory. At the end of the day, that's all we have. It reminds me of that quote. It's like, you've never seen you've never seen a U-Haul behind a hearse. At the end of the day, you can't really take these behind you, with you. And it's kind of like the memories with the people, memories with the cards, these experiences that are ultimately really, really cool. On that note, like, is there anything special that you do to keep track of those memories of like owning certain cards that really mean a lot to you?
Now because of Instagram, it's a lot easier. I used to have them all stored on my laptop. There's a lot of cards I no longer have pictures of, that because I had a phone and laptop that destroyed and water damage. Yeah, so there's a lot. Like my Brady contenders, I only had pictures of 2 or 3 Steph Currys. I think I only have a picture of, I had 4 PSA 10 Brady contenders and 3 BGS 95s and an SGC 98, all gem mint. And I only have a picture of the SGC 98. The PSA 10s I no longer have pictures of. So yeah, I mean, that's the hard part now. But thankfully now, with today's technology, you can upload everything to the cloud, and those memories can be stored up in the sky if something happens to your laptop, your phone, or something. But yeah, that's the best way. I'm thinking about now picking a Kobe card or Jordan, and like, so today I'm heading to Busan for the weekend, going like a 4-day vacation to Busan. So I'm thinking about taking a card and then just doing like a uh, um, like a long standing like a little photo edit or a photo thing of everywhere I go to, just have a little card. That card's sitting there with me. That card's traveling.
That's awesome. Wait, I want to go down memory lane actually because it's funny you
Yeah.
talk about your Instagram, how you're using that as your stored memory. Do you actually remember your first photo of first card that you posted on your Instagram?
No, not the first one, but the one that meant the most to me, right? I think the one that really meant the most.
I have the first one actually because I was gonna just bring this up because
Oh, what is it?
I
Yeah.
it's actually a 1996 Upper Deck Kobe Bryant. It's an on card auto. He wrote the one of one on there.
I missed that one, man.
Wow.
That hurt. That I knew it was such. I knew because it was so difficult to. So, a gentleman in China really wanted the card.
Yeah.
And the offer, I only made like 10%. It was not near enough to let the card go. I would have made more, but I didn't realize about the taxes and tariffs fees and getting stuff in and out of China.
Yeah.
And we had such an issue transferring payments, and it took 3 weeks for the deal to go through because it was
God.
money sent, refunded, sent back. But I still wanted to honor my word, and I sent it, and he received it. But I knew because it was so tumultuous to get the deal done that I
Yeah.
should have kept it. Oh man, that one, the auto graded a 9, but it was a 10 auto. It had
Nice auto. Yeah.
it's perfect. It's flawless. It didn't run off the card. I thought about, and it's a PSA. I think it's PSA 9, but the card would have. I was going to cross that card to Beckett, and it would have 9, 5, 10 auto. It's a BGS 9.5 with a 10 auto. 100%. I've seen enough. That's what that card is.
Yeah. You even have 3 photos of it. You can tell it meant a lot.
It did, man. There aren't. I think it's the only Upper Deck certified one of one Kobe
Wow. I
Oh,
had
really?
no idea.
for a rookie card. I think that's
Oh,
the only deck did is a one of one for a rookie card. I could be wrong, but I believe that's the only one. You know,
Very cool.
yeah.
yeah, because like the rest of them are scoreboards, right?
Scoreboard.
Like the numbered ones. There's like not a lot of one-on-ones there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the rest are scoreboards. But you got the one Upper Deck, and I won it. I overpaid for it. I think I paid $9,000 for it, $9,300. All my friends told me that was stupid high for a buyback, Kobe auto, because it's not a real auto. What they say, because it's a buyback, but it's still pack pulled. They're still pack pulled, still hand signed, still on card, and it's Upper Deck. And I had the little cert card with it. Man,
Yep.
oh man,
didn't want to puncture your memory, but
Yeah.
but definitely wanted to bring it back because since you're really into collecting pieces of memories of collecting cards. So
that's important now that he's no longer here, right? He's no longer he's no longer on Earth with us. That's autographed rookie cards. I think are a great play for any player. Jordan, LeBron, Kobe. If you like baseball, it doesn't matter. And as time goes on, I think ink. I call it ink. I think ink is just going to be a lot more coveted and a lot more appreciated in 3 to 5 years. Players are going to start wanting more money for the autographs. It's going to be harder to get the autographs. Now that MLB has the Players Union now has money, skin in the game for the contracts, the players are going to push to get paid more for their for their memorabilia and the autographs for sure, and potentially the memorabilia. So I think on-card autos are a great play. And I could be wrong. I just don't see that happening. I don't see me being wrong on that one.
Yeah, I think especially like investors are now more picky. Like no one really wants a sticker anymore. Stickers are never really. I mean, like who knows how many like Kobe stickers Panini has stored up, right? Like I can imagine it's in the hundreds or like thousands. It'd be cool to know that though.
Yeah.
I think people are getting more picky about they like seeing the on-card aspect.
I really decipher the auto quality. I like looking at the quality, especially like Kobe autographs. Like I want when did he sign it? Because his autograph evolved, and I pick apart. I like the fluidity. Like a really good, beautiful Kobe autograph is a nice looking thing. Especially when he signed it just Kobe, when he just did the one name Kobe. Some of those autographs are beautiful. I've got some that go almost across the whole card.
Wow.
Oh wow. Yeah, I remember you showed me a copy of I think it was a Kobe Upper Deck card, and you were like, yeah, I've never seen a Kobe autograph like this big in Dallas, and then it like stretched across the whole thing. But what do you look for in like a Kobe autograph when you decide like whether or not it's good or not good?
I mean, for the autograph itself, it's the fluidity. I like how the penmanship, the color of the ink is at a bright blue. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a bright blue, but I would prefer it to be that way. In regards to if it's signed in ink as opposed to like a gold or silver marker, and those are fine too. I love those actually. Actually, I prefer those because they don't fade over time. You can leave one that's signed in gold or silver out on your desk for 5 years and look the same in 5 years. But a lot of the character of the autograph, and the size of the autograph, but those are both important. Because Kobe, a lot of people don't know this. He adjusted the size of his autograph in accordance to the space on the card.
Oh, wow.
A lot of players do their autograph, and it is what it is. If there's not space in the card, it runs off one way or the other. That's their autograph. Kobe, he adjusted his. If he had more space, bigger autograph. Smaller space, smaller autograph. So those are some of the things that I look for on his. Like Jordan, if you look at Jordan's autograph on cards, it's almost all the same. Give or take, it's almost all the same size.
Yeah.
Most players are the same. Most players are the same way. That's their autograph. But Kobe was different. He was a little bit different. And I like those nuances. I like the evolution.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
From the 90s. Yeah. From the 90s, how he signed it. And then he went to the Kobe 8. And he only did Kobe with the number 8 behind it for 3.5 years. But 3 of those years, they won back-to-back-to-back championships. So anytime you see a Kobe 8 autograph, that came from a championship year. Basically, there's a 90% chance that came from a championship year. So if you're looking at memorabilia and stuff, that's a good thing.
Huh. That I never knew that. That's interesting. But yeah, I've seen the Kobe autographs like different sizes. Like I think it was like for 2014 or 2015 Flawless. He like signs on the upper left of the card, and the autograph is like really really tiny. But like for other years, it like moves around in the cards. That's really cool. I felt like I really liked like how much care he put into autographing the cards. I don't know if you guys have seen like the video of him like signing the Eminence cards, but he was like, yeah, I remember like every single moment depicted on each of these cards. I think there's like 40. There's a lot of cards in the set. He's like, I remember all of these. And he was like kind of like telling the story of like of each of those moments while he was like literally picking up every single card, signing them, putting them down. I thought that was really really cool. Like he actually cared about it.
And that's why I like the on-card autographs, especially with Kobe. At our core, I think what we are as collectors is we really enjoy. We're fans of the game. It's for love of the game, right? We love the game, whatever the game is, soccer, football, whatever. If we're fans of it, we love it. This gets us just a little bit closer to being on the court or to that moment, that game, right? So that's why I like on-card autographs, because I know in my heart that player held that card. So I like game use memorabilia because that player wore that jersey. It gets me as close as I can get, because I'm not a pro athlete, right? Let's be honest. It gets me as close to being there as I'll ever get. And that's at my core why I'm in this. That's what I'm in here for. Now, not to say that you can't, look at National Treasures. Those aren't game use and they're worth a fortune. Not to say there's no, right. It's not to say there's no value, and there's a ton of value in them. But it's not what I do. And nobody's right and wrong. It's just people are different, So a lot of my buddies collect National Treasures. They got some high-end NT stuff. I'm no better or worse than them. My perspective is no more important or less important than theirs. It's just my perspective.
So how has that changed? Like, have you always been like this when you first started collecting, or has this been like a journey of like just an experience where it's like you got to a point where like, man, game use memorabilia is my jam, or what? Or was it always like that?
No,
because I'm curious.
Yeah, it was always like that from the beginning. I just didn't.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I just would save up money, or I'd buy something else. If it wasn't game used or on card autograph for me, I would just not buy it, and I would buy something else. Unless the player, let's say, like old Prism, right? Like I think 2012 or 2013. I think 2013. In 2013, they didn't have on card autographs. So if you wanted a Giannis Prism auto, then that's your only choice, right? So that one I understand, right? Because you have no. But I would buy other Giannis cards. But if I wanted Giannis Prism auto, I had to get the sticker. But other than that, I always have been on card game used memorabilia. It's just, I just knew that about myself because it would, I don't know, it just bugs me if it's not on card or game used.
That's unique because I don't know how Raymond was, but I know when I first got into the hobby, which is not that long, I was just more about what was the best value flipping, obviously, and then now it's like I'm come to a point. I just do soccer cards usually, and I'm come to a point. I just look at the aesthetics of a card, the story behind the autos, just like you, and I'm trying to learn as much as I can as well. And on card autos of soccer is so limited, so it's like even harder. You can't really choose. So it's super interesting that you already came into the hobby having that mindset of like just collecting a piece of game use stuff, autos, when like a lot of us just never thought about that until you get deeper into the hobby. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, soccer's got to be really difficult. I mean,
yeah, it's like near impossible, but it's all good.
I, because to them, and again, it's not right or wrong. To them, stickers, autos are totally acceptable. That's just normal.
Yeah.
That's just part of how it always has been. But then that's why you see that vastness and arbitrage in regard, not arbitrage, but in value between a sticker auto and like a Pele or Ronaldo or Messi, versus sticker versus on card. It's just
insane.
Yeah, in basketball, sometimes it's maybe 5-10%, maybe 20%, but in soccer, it's 3-4-5x.
That's wild.
It's wild, But I was looking at some Pele's. There's a gentleman here. I don't want to divulge his name.
I know he is. Yeah, he is a flawless, right?
He's got a few 2016 bunch of them.
Three, right?
Three.
Yeah. That's my boy.
I had him in my hand day before yesterday, right? We were up, and I looked at him, and I don't own any flawless Pele cards, but it didn't take me about 45 seconds before I asked him how much he wanted for him.
But I tried asking. He was like, "Nope." I'm like, come on, man."
Yeah, he told me no.
Exactly. Yeah.
I said, "Look, just do me a favor, give me a solid. If that no ever changes to a maybe, just think about me, and I will trade if you like some of the stuff I have, because he's not about cash, right? So it's not about me for him, and I get that and I respect that. But if he wants to do something where maybe there's some cards that I have that he's interested in, I would definitely open up my PC to get those flawless Pele's. At least
I don't
two.
blame you, brother. At least two, he says. Give me half.
Yeah. One, just let me. One, man. I mean, the autos were big. Now it's an older Pele auto, later in his year, 16, right? So it's not as fluid as his 90s autographs, but still.
Yeah, it's like a little crinkly, right?
Yeah. You could see Father Time biting him as he's outside.
Yeah, no comment on that, but yes, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. But I told him, I said, the autos are still bold blue, no streaky, no skipping. It was they were just, and I love flawless. I do. And it PSA 10, there were pop ones.
Yeah, you got a PSA 10, Raymond.
PSA 10 flawless auto? Oh, wow. I didn't even.
Yeah, first
year flawless soccer. So, first year.
Yeah. The only flawless, actually, yeah.
Yeah, the only pins, right?
Yeah.
Man. Those were calling my name. Oh, those
so
are
ironic. It's so ironic that you saw them yesterday, because I was just literally talking to the guy a week ago, and because he DM'd me, he was like, "Check this out." I'm like, "Huh? Are you gonna like sell it, or are you just showing me?"
That's it. And he's only been in it for 2 years, card collecting. That's it.
He pulled the Messi 1-of-1 laces too, actually, I believe.
Did he really?
Is that the shoe card?
Yeah, the shoe one. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that one flying around.
Yeah, he busts a lot of wax. He does.
Yeah, I know. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, the whole Thai gang over there in South Korea are awesome. I know they're going to Dallas soon, so I can't wait to see them. Are you going to Dallas, by the way, Eric? I don't know you noticed, but we always run into each other in the Hilton Garden Inn. And that specific hotel, we always run into each other. I always see you running around there, because we always have the soccer trade night, so that's probably why. But yeah.
I bring that up. I have brought that up in multiple conversations. When people ask me, they say, "Eric, what do you feel about the future of the hobby and collecting?" And I bring up those specific, I don't mention anybody's names, I bring up those situations that I see. 144, so I'm a little older now, right?
Yeah.
So I always see when the show's over and people are kind of huddled together, that's really how I get a pulse of, our hobby, our industry. What are the people who are trading cards when they huddle together, them as just groups of friends? What are they into? Especially people under the age of 30. I'm very interested. And even 25 and under, because that's the future of our hobby. I'm 44. I'm at the now point in the hobby. Not much future left in me, maybe about 10.
Nah.
But I want to see what the people that are 18, 23, 28 years old, I want to see what those people are collecting. And I want to be able to talk to them, converse with them, feel their level of passion. And I see a lot more. Before it was maybe one person in that group did soccer. Now it's half a group or the whole groups. And there's a lot more of those groups of people. And I always bring up those moments when we run into each other and stuff. I'm like, I feel that soccer 3 years and 5 years down the line is going to be
You always say that. You've always said that when I ran into you. So I could attest to that.
Yeah. I love to see that. Even though I don't own any soccer cards, I still love to see things, because that right there, that in a micro level, that is true organic growth. That's absolutely true organic, because you see a lot of pumping up schemes. You see a lot of people. We don't know if this is truly organic or is it just a few people hyping this stuff up. But when the show's over, it's late in the evening and people are sitting around talking about cards and they're looking about trading, and it's late when they're spending their Friday or Saturday nights sitting in a group of guys and they're all talking about soccer cards. That's going to last. That's organic growth. That's natural, holistic evolvement of a hobby. And if you're seeing it from young people, when they get older, they're going to have more money. God willing, they're going to have more money when they get older, and they're going to have the same love and the same passion for the same cards as they did when they were younger. They just have deeper pockets. And then that's how the growth happens in that stuff, and I don't have any skin in the game. I don't own any soccer cards. I just like to see it, happen.
Right.
Because it's soccer. Global.
That's what I can see. Yeah. I also feel like the soccer market is also like people, they're a lot more passionate about it. You always see people like wearing like Messi, Ronaldo jerseys when they're like going around shopping for cards, right? You don't really see that for basketball. You don't really see too much of that for football either. Maybe like a little bit here and there, but like I feel like soccer has like the most passionate fan base for cards, at least.
Well, the jerseys kind of look better too. Like if you're
it's a good fit. The drip is like
Yeah.
You have to have the right body type to wear a basketball jersey, right? Because no sleeves.
Yeah, I'll play a midget if I had a basketball jersey.
In football jerseys, it just looks awkward because it doesn't look like it's like a real football jersey. It doesn't look like it's meant to be worn in public. It looks like it should be worn in like a sporting event, right? But soccer, they look, especially some of the good ones, like Man U's, or there's some other ones, and they're tight fit. They're not tight fit, but it's a snugger fit.
Yeah.
It just looks. It looks like it could be worn at a nice event, other than the fact it's got a number on it. But looks very more professional.
I never thought about that. New business idea. We'll talk about this right after. That's interesting. I think like also another like one thing that was really surprising during like trade nights was like all of the young people there who were interested in vintage cards. That was super surprising to me.
Me too.
Like, I had a 12-year-old come up and he was like, "Oh, do you have any Mickey Mantle cards?" Or like gold cards. Right?
Crazy.
I was like, that was way before my time. Definitely way before your time. But that was super crazy to me.
I was worried 2 or 3 years ago that wasn't going to be the case. Like truly worried. I mean, a lot more than I let on. I was really worried that I wouldn't, that wouldn't happen. That these younger, because
let's talk about that, because I'm curious to hear that. Actually, why were you worried? Because it's a piece of history.
Well, yeah, but today's mentality really isn't about history. It's about now. Like what have you done for me lately? It's an instant gratification type lifestyle with Instagram lives. You can post on, Facebook. Everything is our memory and time span seems to be a lot shorter in today's society because we all move so fast. Our phone, between now and 20 years ago, the phone allows us to navigate life on a daily basis so much faster. And most of us, I don't know if you're like me, I look at my phone a lot, right? So I'm always seeing what's happening now. And kids that grew up today, a lot of them, they don't know players from the 80s, much less the 50s or the 40s, right? So And I'm not sure that they care too much about the history of the sports, of the collecting that they're involved in. I was really concerned because 3 or 4, 2, 3, 4 years ago, when I'd asked younger people, they didn't have any interest in it. None.
Yep, I agree. Yeah.
They just didn't, and they didn't think that they would ever have it. I ask those same people now. They're asking me, "Hey, Eric, do you have any of this? Do you have any of that?"
Yep. Exactly. It's all of us now.
And
Yeah.
what happened? It was during a bull market, and they were new to the industry. During a bull market, they could collect what they loved, and everything was going up. But when
Right.
stuff pulled back in a bear market, they look for stability. What's stable?
Exactly.
What shows good long-term stable growth? I'm okay that money drew them over there. Totally accept it. Whatever gets them there, I'm okay with. I just need them there because I need
Right.
them. I want them to appreciate the foundation. That's why it's hard for me to compare LeBron to Jordan or Jordan to other people or these people to players before them. I do at times in conversations and stuff, but because everything is built like a pyramid, everything's built on the foundation before, right? That's how it works. So without people like Babe Ruth, Ted Williams, Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle, and just Bob Gibson, there's just a lot of people that built the foundation for the sports that we have now. And I think it's important that today's youth understand that. It's almost like, so one thing I love about Asian culture, it's a respect for yesterday. It's a respect for like the elders, you know? They might not like certain aspects of the culture or, how legalistic some things are, and I get that.
Yeah.
But still understand why you have respect for your elders, for the people that came before you. And that's very important in society to function effectively. And it's the same way in the card market. It's very important to value those things, because eventually what you collect today will be those things. If you don't,
You couldn't be more right about that. That's true.
yeah,
Yeah, I think the card market is getting more stable now. It's like it used to, like, last year, Bobble had like a good game. Everyone was buying Bobble, right? But now people are like, they're a little bit smarter. They're like, oh, I've been burned before. I'm not gonna go for it this time. And it's like people are more into like the more stable blue chip stuff. That's definitely a good sign. I think to add on your like point about the vintage cards, I think like one thing that really appeals to me is like every card doesn't look exactly the same, right? 2018 Luka Prism looks kind of the same, but in 1961 Fleer Wilt, every copy is different in terms of like centering, color, front, the back, right? I think that's really exciting. It's like a kind of like a fresh look. You kind of have to almost like analyze the card a little bit more deeply. There's like more nuances to it
Not the
rather
grade.
than just
Yeah.
like just a
that's
piece of shiny paper.
that's good because not every. Let's take the 51. Right. Well, right. I mean, expensive. Let's take an 8. I mean, they're still expensive, but they're not 6 figures in 8, right?
Yeah.
Not every 8's gonna look the same, And I know in modern we go, oh, not every PSA 10 is the same, but they kind of are. I mean, it really what it's saying is the centering's not the same. The corners are the same, the edges are the same, the surface is the same. It's the centering. You take a vintage card, and 8s don't look the same at all.
Mm-hmm.
Some have better corners, but the centering's way off. Or maybe it's got the surface is a little faded due to sun or something. And then,
Yeah.
yeah. And so, again, I got in a discussion with Jeremy Lee the other day on a podcast. It allows you to find what you like, why you buy it. Right? Before you cut that check or send that bank wire, it allows for you, like me, I'm about centering and then registration or color saturation. With vintage, I really don't care too much about corners or edges. That's a lot more acceptable for me to have wear. I want to see good centering, good color registration, and good color saturation. It's, how the picture imagery is number 2 next to centering. I'm just really sticklers for centering. Some people want to see sharp corners. Some people really just focus on the registration and the color saturation, and they don't care about centering at all. They don't care if it's 80-20, but nobody's right or wrong. But that's what I love. That's one thing I really love about the hobby. It allows you to really, find yourself and why you're in it. And that all that is building upon love for you being in the hobby.
Yeah, like these vintage cards, like, I've never seen, Jackie Robinson or Mickey Mantle play, but it's like the most similar card is probably like the 1996 Kobe Topps Chrome Refractor, right? There's like various levels of centering, also like the greening. So like for me, like that really sticks out to me, right? Like if I can see like a nice copy with no greening at all, like I'm going to pay through the nose for it just because it's such a beautiful card if it's not green. Like that blue, almost that blue shine is just it's really beautiful.
I think that's important. It's the nuances, the little differences that sometimes it scares people off, but also at the same time, when you see a beautiful one, oh, man, it takes your breath away.
Oh
It,
yeah.
it takes your, and that's important because the money is great, right? I love money. Trust me. I don't never turn it
We all
down.
do, right? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, never turn it
Yeah.
down. But you got to have love for it, right? That's what it's all built.
100%.
I mean, because if the market pulls back hard, I'm happy with everything I have. Like I have some very beautiful pieces, and if the market goes up, I'm even more happy because now that adds more money in my pocket, right? But it's all
Yeah.
about it's what makes this different than the stock market. I'm not certain anybody cares about Amazon stock or Tesla stock or all those things, but our whole industry is built on the end user. Like somebody has to want that item at the end and that really loves it. And that's what built on our item is the emotional attachment from item to individual. That's our whole industry is built on that, right? So that's why I talk about that a lot in podcasts. Individuals is I need people to understand, like find whatever it is you love and find why it is you love what you love, the nuances of it, the differences. Sure, things make money and also work on that too, but you need to, as much time and effort you spend on figuring out arbitrage and sales data points and projections of players and prospecting, you need to spend as much time on why it is you love the things you love that you're stacking away for your PC. Because that'll make it'll make you a better, well-rounded person.
Yeah, I completely agree. And yeah, it's just funny that you're talking about all these things because coming into the hobby, you only look at sales data, right? You're looking at data points, you're looking at pop count, you're looking at what's the trend, right? Which is all decent. But the longer you stay in the hobby, it's like now we're going to talk about the story of the Kobe auto, his evolution of his auto, and that's what gets really exciting, like you said.
Yeah, I think, and that's the best part. To me, that's the best part of collecting. So the conversations. So I'm in Clubhouse a lot doing conversations and discords on there.
Right.
Yep.
Now we have a lot of conversations, and my favorite ones are almost when me and my buddies are bickering and arguing with each other over why this player's season's better than that season. We start arguing about, like in baseball, well, what's more important, his batting average versus home runs? Is there a ratio? And we start bickering apart. We start dissecting them, right? Then you start dissecting the players and their efficiencies and all that stuff. Those are my favorite conversations to have in the hobby because you're basically, you're some of it's heated discussions or arguments, but you're defending why you love your player versus their player, or why you think this is better, or this player was better at this position. And you can do that for a lot of different, let's take soccer. Ronaldinho was a much better dribbler and a ball handler than Pele, and Pele was the
Oh
best,
yeah, yeah.
right? But it's not fair to compare because they're two different generations, right? Two complete different. Does that mean Ronaldinho was better than Pele? No, not at all. But when you watch it, you go, oh, he was probably the best dribbler and handler ever by far.
100%. Yeah.
Right. But those are great. I love those discussions because what you're doing is you're transferring passion to the other person and you're transferring knowledge because you're giving them knowledge they might not have had and you're just expressing your passion and they're doing the same to you. And that's what builds up a strong hobby. That's what built our whole hobby.
Right. Yeah. But I don't want to keep you too long. It's already 38 minutes in.
Yeah.
I know it's like super late in Seoul, Korea,
Super
so
That's our,
or early. We were in the beginning of the conversation. This is the last question we want to ask is, you were saying how you can't take everything to your grave, right? But let's just say you could, right? Let's just say, for example, you could take it with you. What would that be? What would that card be? And why would it be that card?
it would have been the two I just sold a few months ago. My PSA 9 Ted Williams rookie and my 48 leaf Satchel Paige. Those are my two favorite. Those are my two favorite baseball cards in the hobby. But it's not even close. Bar none, no question. Those are my two favorite cards I've ever owned. I chased that Ted Williams for 14 years. I chased the Page for 8 or 9 years. That in that grade, in that specific grade,
How'd you get those? You don't mind me asking. How'd you find them? I know I don't want to take too much time, but yeah, I'm just curious at this point.
JP, he owns Memory Lane. He knew I'd been looking for Williams and called me and offered me the 9 at a very acceptable price a year or so ago. But he needed the money by Friday, by like the next Friday. And I told him, yeah, I'll make it happen. And I had like 1/5 of the money in the bank account. But,
When you want it bad enough, you'll do anything to make it happen.
yeah, all I knew is that opportunity wouldn't come again and for a long time. There's only 12 nines in the world, one PSA 10. And most of the 9s look better than the 10, in my opinion, just my opinion. So I wanted a really solid 9. He offered me one. The page was different. It was another customer I knew, or a buddy of mine, maybe not so much a customer, somebody that I do business with on a regular basis. And he had it, and he wasn't looking to sell it. And I just so happened to reach out to him one day, pick his brain, very knowledgeable guy. And he was telling me he was retiring from his job. And he was thinking about selling some of his cards. And I specifically asked him about that one. He goes, yeah, Eric, I'll let it go. I'll do it. And that was it, man. As soon as he said yes, I had him the money again by the next Friday. It was, I had to have. And the reason I sold him is because JP sold me the Williams. It's been right. Ironically, called back a year later. He goes, hey, would you sell it? And I told him no like 5 times. And on the 6th time, I sold it to him. Both.
Sold the same card back to him.
And the page. I told him if he wanted about it, he had to get the page too. And I sent him, and the page, the 48 leaf is very common to have horrible centering. It was 50-50 centering all the way around. The reason it was a 7 is because of the corner wear, right? And there's no 10s or 9s in that card. There's 5 or 6 8s. So an 8 goes for like 1.3 million, 1.4 million for an 8. So 7's, 250, right? A strong 7. And that one was definitely a strong 7. So it was probably, actually that was top 15%. So it was probably one of the 2 or 3 nicest 7s in the world. So I told him, because those are my 2 of my favorite players, and those were my 2 favorite cards. If he wanted one, he had to buy them both. And he agreed. He said, yeah, let's do it. And so there the journey continues. Then I jumped into the Jordan rookies again for like the 3rd time.
I've seen them on Facebook. Yeah. You bought, or is it 6 or 7 at this point?
I had 9. Now I'm down to 2.
Oh, you're down. Oh, wow.
I don't know how many.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we are approaching the 40-minute mark, but just wanted to thank you for your time, Eric. Those who enjoy the podcast, you can find Eric on Instagram as Haole Hustle, HAOLE_hustle, or on Facebook as Eric Myers, spelled with a K. But yeah, thanks for chatting with us, Eric.
Anytime, man. Anytime.